Nobody told Mama she wasn't invited. This was a mistake. Not a small mistake. Not a recoverable mistake. The kind of mistake that arrives at your Seoul apartment door on a Tuesday afternoon with two oversized suitcases, a carry-on somehow larger than both suitcases combined, and a woman named Sharon from Dayton, Ohio First Baptist Church, who has been wanting to see Korea ever since she watched a drama about a billionaire who cried beautifully in the rain. Karis is 9 months pregnant and on the sofa. She has been on the sofa for 40 minutes because getting up requires a full operational plan and the emotional support of at least two people. She is eating crackers. She is watching a show about people renovating houses and judging every single decision being made with the quiet authority of someone who has dismantled criminal networks and therefore knows when load-bearing walls are being disrespected. She is completely at peace. This will not last. The knock comes at 2:17 p.m. Ryuk opens the door because Ryuk opens every door. This is his life now. He made peace with it and finds himself face to face with a woman who is 5'4", reading glasses pushed up on her head, yellow cardigan, the specific expression of a mother who has not seen her daughter in 4 months and has accumulated feelings about this that she about to release on Seoul. Behind her, Sharon. Sharon is already looking past Ryuk into the apartment with the focused investigative energy of a woman who has been waiting her entire life for exactly this kind of access. Ryuk, who has stood down criminals, survived 47 hours in a warehouse with Karis, faced Chairman O's entire network without flinching, looks at this woman in the yellow cardigan, goes completely still, already walking past him. You must be the big one. She mentioned you. Yes, ma'am. Already inside, already looking around. This apartment is nice. The curtains are crooked. Following immediately, is that original flooring? From the sofa. Karis hears the voice. One voice in the entire world that sounds exactly like that. She closes her eyes, opens them, looks down at her stomach. I need you to know that whatever happens in the next few days, I love you, and none of this is your fault. She looks toward the hallway, calling back, completely calm. In here, Mama! Appearing in the doorway, stopping, looking at her daughter's stomach. Oh, baby. Don't cry, Mama. I'm not crying. Appearing behind Mama, she's definitely about to cry. Sharon, I will leave you in this hallway. Sojin walks in from the home office at exactly this moment, stops, takes in the two suitcases, the carry-on, Mama. Sharon actively opened a cabinet in his kitchen, looks at Karis on the sofa. Karis looks back at him with the calm, unbothered expression of a woman who has decided that this is simply her life now and has made peace with it faster than he has. When did? 2 minutes ago. Did you know? I did not. Should I? Just smile, baby. Just smile. Sharon emerges from the cabinet, holding the burnt pot. Looks at it. Looks at Karis. Is this the same pot from last time? Sharon, put my pot down. I'm just asking. Put my pot down. Sharon puts the pot down with the energy of a woman who has more questions and will be asking them later. Sojin stands in his own living room, in his own apartment, in Seoul, South Korea, with his 9-month pregnant wife on the sofa, his mother-in-law rearranging his throw pillows, and a woman named Sharon from Dayton, Ohio First Baptist Church holding his burnt pot as evidence. He looks at Ryuk. Ryuk looks back at him. Neither man speaks. Neither man has the words. By 6 o'clock Tuesday evening, Mama has rearranged the throw pillows twice, declared the kitchen lighting inadequate, found 3 things in the refrigerator she has questions about, and established herself at the kitchen counter like she has lived there for years and the apartment is the newcomer. Sharon has not sat down once. She is on a self-guided tour that nobody approved. Seojin is in the kitchen attempting to make dinner. This would normally be fine. Seojin is an excellent cook, quiet, precise, efficient. He has made dinner in this kitchen hundreds of times without incident. Tonight, Mama is standing directly beside him, watching every single thing he does, with the focused attention of a woman who needs to know if this man can feed her daughter properly before she decides how she feels about him. How much salt is that? It's calibrated too. That's not enough salt. The recipe calls for... Baby, I don't care what the recipe calls for. Food needs salt. Add more. Sojin adds more salt. He does it immediately and without argument because somewhere in the last 4 months he has developed an instinct for which battles are worth having and which ones are simply not. Mama nods approvingly. See, good. From the sofa, Karis is watching this interaction with the pure, undiluted joy of a woman who has waited years to see Sojin meet someone he cannot outcompose. He is not winning. He is not losing either. He is simply surviving, which, with Mama, is its own form of victory. Sharon appears from the corridor. The second bedroom is very nice. Is that where the baby is going? Yes. The curtains in there are also crooked. They're not they're crooked, Sojin. Sojin looks at Karis. Karis mouths, just agree. I'll have them fixed. Already moving somewhere else? Good. Also, your hallway art is slightly left of center. Seojin sets his spatula down, picks it back up, continues cooking. He is a man of tremendous discipline. Ryuk brings Mama's suitcases to the guest room. This takes 2 trips because the suitcases are heavier than anything he has carried in 11 years of physical security work. And he has carried some very heavy things. He comes back into the kitchen slightly out of breath. Mama looks at him. What's your name, baby? Ryuk, ma'am. How long have you worked for my daughter? 4 months, ma'am. Before that, the specific pause of a man calculating how much honesty is appropriate for this exact moment. Security work, ma'am. For good people or bad people? Another pause, longer this time. The transition has been positive. Mama looks at him for a long moment, then pats his arm once. The specific pat of a woman who has assessed someone completely and made her decision. Mama, you're eating with us tonight. Ryuk blinks. Ma'am, I don't need to. You're eating with us. Sit down. Ryuk sits down. He has faced many things in his life. He has never once been told to sit down and simply accepted it this fast. Something about Mama makes resistance feel not just impossible, but genuinely unreasonable. Karis watches all of this from the sofa with her crackers. She is the most entertained she has been in months. Minjun arrives at 6:30. He called ahead. He always calls ahead, carrying food from the corner place because he heard through Ryuk that there were guests, and his therapist says thoughtful gestures are important. He walks in, sees Mama, sees Sharon emerging from the bathroom with the expression of a woman who has completed her assessment of the bathroom and has thoughts. Looks at Karis. You didn't tell me. I didn't know. Should I leave? You brought food. You're staying. Min sits down next to Ryuk at the kitchen counter. 2 large and medium Korean men sitting at a counter being fed and assessed by a woman from Dayton, Ohio, who arrived 4 hours ago unannounced. They are both completely fine with this. Dinner is ready at 7. Everyone is at the table. Mama, Sharon, Karis, Sojin, Ryuk, Minjun. 6 people around a table that seats 4. Jiho declined the invitation via a very polite text message that Karis read aloud and Mama declared suspicious. Why didn't the glasses come? He had work, Mama. On a Tuesday evening? He's very dedicated. That's what people say when something is wrong. Sharon, nothing is wrong with Jiho. Is he married? I'm just asking. I think he might be interested in that sharp woman. The Korean-American one. Everyone at the table stops. Looks at Sharon. How do you know about Sarah? Completely unbothered. I looked at your phone while you were getting up from the sofa. The table is silent. You have very interesting contacts, baby. You cannot go through I wasn't going through it. It was just there. Open. Is she always like this? She's been like this since 1987, and nobody has been able to stop her yet. Sojin looks at Sharon. Sharon is now asking Ryuk about his skincare routine because his skin is very nice, and she wants to know what he uses. Ryuk is answering, completely serious, in detail. This is my life. Welcome to Ohio, baby. After dinner, Mama pulls Sojin aside. Just the 2 of them in the kitchen while everyone else is in the living room. He faces her. She looks up at him. She has to look up. He is significantly taller than her. This does not affect her authority by a single degree. You called me. 4 months ago, with a document. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. About your intentions. For my daughter. Yes, ma'am. Mama looks at him for a long moment. She doesn't know I'm here because I was worried about her. She thinks I came because I wanted to see Seoul. Did you want to see Seoul? Seoul is very nice. That's not why I came. She looks at him. She called me 3 weeks ago. She sounded tired. Nobody is tired. My soul is tired. The kind of tiredness that happens when you've been caring too much for too long without letting anyone see it. Sojin is very still. You see it though, don't you? It is not a question. Yes, ma'am. Mama nods once. Good. That's all I needed to know. She pats his arm, the same pat she gave Ryuk, the assessment part. Then you'll do it. Then she picks up a dish towel and hands it to him. Now dry these dishes. You cook so I'm washing and you're drying. That's how it works. Sojin takes the dish towel. Yes, ma'am. From the living room, Karis can see them through the kitchen doorway. Mama washing, Shin drying, side by side, talking quietly. She puts her hand on her stomach, smiles. That's your grandmother. She's a lot. You're gonna love her. From the bathroom, Karis, these towels are folded wrong. Sharon, get out of my bathroom. I'm just saying there's a better system. The baby comes on a Wednesday. Not because Wednesday was planned, not because Wednesday was convenient. Wednesday, because this baby has her mother's complete disregard for other people's timelines and her father's impeccable sense of dramatic timing. It starts at 6:43 in the morning. Karis is in the kitchen. She is standing at the counter eating the breakfast Sojin made. Because she is not allowed within 3 feet of the stove. And this rule has now been co-signed by Mama, who enforces it with a wooden spoon she found in the third drawer and has claimed as her own when she goes very still. Sets her fork down, looks at the counter, looks at the window, looks at the counter again. That is all she says. Sojin is in the home office on a 7 a.m. call with Tokyo. He is composed, professional. Saying important things about important numbers in the important way he says everything. Karis appears in the doorway. He looks up. She looks at him with the calm, unbothered expression of a woman reporting mild weather. The baby is coming. Sojin stares at her. Finish your sentence first. I'll get my bag. To Tokyo, voice completely steady. I need to reschedule this call. He hangs up before Tokyo can respond. Stands up so fast his chair rolls back and hits the wall. Where is your bag? Second bedroom closet, top shelf. Blue bag. It's been there for 3 weeks. I know where it is. Then why are you opening the kitchen cabinet? He closes the kitchen cabinet, stands in the middle of the living room. Okay, I have a plan. The plan is laminated. It's on the fridge. Baby. Step 1 is call Ryuk. Step 2 is get the bag. Step 3. Sojin. He stops, looks at her. She is standing in the kitchen doorway, completely composed, one hand resting on her stomach, looking at him with the warm, steady eyes of the most unbothered woman in Seoul. Breathe. He breathes. Get the bag. Call Ryuk. I'll tell Mama. Don't tell Mama yet. She's gonna find out. I know, but if we tell Mama now, Sharon finds out, and if Sharon finds out from down the corridor, did somebody say baby? Sidon closes his eyes. How does she do that? Let's bring back 30 years of practice. Move. The next 11 minutes are the most chaotic 11 minutes in the history of this apartment. Ryuk arrives from his post at the door within 45 seconds, which should be physically impossible given the distance. But Ryuk has developed a particular sensitivity to urgency in this household and was apparently already moving before the call connected. Minjun, who called ahead this morning because he was bringing pastries and wanted to make sure it was a good time, walks directly into the chaos at minute 3 with a box of pastries and the expression of a man who did not call ahead for this.
I brought.
Put the pastries down and grab that bag. Which bag? The blue one. There are 2 blue, the blue one. Minjun. I don't know which, that one. Minjun grabs the right bag. Ryuk has already pulled the car around. Sojin is looking for his keys. His keys are in his hand. He has been holding them for 4 minutes. Watching all of this from the sofa where she sat down because she is in labor and would like everyone to remember this. The keys are in your hand, baby. Sojin looks at his hand. I know. I was checking. You were checking, making sure they were still there. Where would they go? Appearing fully dressed, bag already on her shoulder, ready to walk out the door. I've been ready for 7 minutes. What is everybody doing? Complete silence. Everyone looks at Mama. Mama looks at everyone. Ryuk, car running? Yes, ma'am. Bag? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Keys? In my hand, ma'am. Sharon, already at the front door, ready. Mama walks to Karis, sits beside her, takes her hand. Soft you doing, baby? I'm good, Mama. I'm really good. Scared? Not even a little. Mama looks at her daughter, this woman she raised, this Ohio girl who moved to Seoul and built a whole extraordinary life, and squeezes her hand once. That's my girl. She stands up, switches immediately back to operational mode. Let's go. What are we waiting for? This baby is not going to deliver herself. Actually, sometimes I'm just saying medically, walk through that door right now. Walking. I'm walking. In the elevator going down. 7 people, Karis, Seojin, Mama, Sharon, Ryuk, Minjun, and Jiho, who appeared at the elevator at the exact right moment, because Jiho always appears at the exact right moment, with a printed hospital document that he hands to Seojin without a word. Looks at it. It is color-coded. I prepared it 3 weeks ago, sir. Yellow is important. Blue for very... Yes, sir? Straightens his glasses. Of course, sir. The elevator is very full. Sharon is telling Minjun about the birth of her second cousin in 1987 in considerable detail. Minjun is listening with the trapped politeness of someone in an elevator with nowhere to go. Ryuk is staring at the elevator doors with the focus of a man choosing not to process any of this until later. Mama is holding Karis's hand. Seojin is holding Karis's other hand. Karis stands between them. In labor. In an elevator. Surrounded by the most chaotic collection of people she has ever assembled in one place, she looks at the elevator ceiling, to the ceiling. This is my life. The elevator opens, still talking to Minjun, and the doctor said he had never seen anything like it. Help me. You're on your own. Seoul National University Hospital has seen many things. Complex surgeries, medical miracles, patients from 40 different countries with 40 different problems. The staff are trained, the staff are professional, the staff are prepared for almost everything. They were not prepared for this group. They arrive at 8:14 a.m. Ryuk pulls up to the entrance with the focused precision of a man who has driven in considerably more dangerous situations and treats this with the same seriousness. He is out of the car and at Karis's door before Seojin has fully processed that they have stopped moving. The hospital entrance automatic doors open. 6 people walk through. 7 if you count the baby who is currently making her timeline very clear. The receptionist looks up. Takes in the group. Looks back down at her desk. Looks back up. Can I help? She's in labor. 9 months. First baby. We need a room immediately, and I would like to know if this hospital has a cafeteria, because we are going to be here for a while and I did not eat breakfast. The receptionist blinks. To the receptionist. Hi, I'm Karis Yoon. I called ahead 3 weeks ago. My doctor is Dr. Shin. I'm having contractions 6 minutes apart, and I would very much appreciate being taken somewhere comfortable before Sharon here starts reorganizing your waiting room. I wasn't going to... Sharon, I was just going to suggest... Sharon? Sharon closes her mouth. The receptionist, who has worked this desk for 11 years and has never once been this efficiently briefed by a woman in active labor, picks up the phone immediately. Dr. Shin to maternity. Dr. Shin to maternity. Thank you. She smiles, turns to walk toward the maternity ward, stops, turns back. You're holding my hand. Wrong. I'm what? You're gripping. I need a hold, not a grip. Relax your thumb. Is that perfect? Let's go. She walks. He follows. Ryuk follows him. Minjun follows Ryuk. Jiho follows Minjun with the hospital document still in hand. Mama walks beside Karis. Sharon stops at the reception desk. To the receptionist, where is the cafeteria? The delivery room is large and clean and perfectly adequate. Karis assesses it when she enters the way she assesses every room, exits, lighting, functionality, and declares it acceptable, which the nurse takes as a compliment, and Seojin takes as the most Karis thing she has ever said. Dr. Shin arrives. Calm, professional, the expression of a woman who has delivered 400 babies and finds each one equally significant. She looks at Karis. How are we feeling? Ready. You? Dr. Shin almost smiles. Always. Families can wait outside. I'm the mother. You can stay. I'll be outside the door. That's fine. I'll be further down the corridor. Also fine. I have a document. Is he always like this? He means well. Already leaving. I'll be outside. Outside the delivery room. The corridor. 4 men. Ryuk, directly outside the door, arms crossed, the unmovable object. Jiho, 3 feet to the left, sitting on a chair, devices out, monitoring the outside world because somebody has to, and standing still makes him anxious. Minjun, further down the corridor, sitting on the floor against the wall, stress eating the pastries he brought this morning, texting updates to nobody who asked. Sojin is pacing. Back and forth, the full length of the corridor and back. Measured steps, controlled breathing, everything contained and managed on the surface and absolutely fell apart underneath. He has delivered presentations to rooms full of the most powerful people in Korea without his pulse moving. He cannot currently remember his own phone password. I'm fine. You've passed me 43 times. I'm counting my steps. You don't need to count your steps, sir. It's a focusing technique. It's in the book. Chapter 7, the red highlighted section. You read my book. You left it in the kitchen, sir. I was curious.
Yeah.
That's private. Chapter 9 is also very interesting. Ryuk, from down the corridor, mouthful of pastry. I read chapter 12, the part about emotional regulation under stress. I've been applying for it. How did everyone read my, without looking up from his device? I read all of it, sir. I thought it was excellent. I added 3 supplementary resources to your reading list. You added to my, they've been on your desk for 2 weeks. Stands in the corridor. These people, these absolute people. He looks at Ryuk, looks back. She's going to be fine, sir. You know that. I know. She once managed a kidnapping from a warehouse chair and corrected a ransom note for grammar. I know. She called you from inside a hostile location to tell you to breathe. I know, Ryuk. This is a hospital with professionals and your mother-in-law. That last part is not as comforting as you think. She organized us into a car in 4 minutes this morning, sir. Your mother-in-law is the most operationally efficient person I have ever encountered in my life, including my 11 years of... Don't finish that sentence. Yes, sir. Sharon arrives from the cafeteria at 9:30 with coffee for everyone. She distributes it with the organized energy of a woman who has assigned herself a role and is executing it with full commitment. She hands Minjun his coffee. He looks at it. How did you know I take it with 2 sugars? I looked at your phone contacts while you were stress eating. You have very nice friends. That Sarah woman has an interesting last name. You cannot just look at people's... Drink your coffee, Minjun. Minjun drinks his coffee. Jiho receives his coffee. Looks at it. It is exactly right. He looks at Sharon. How did you... I have my methods. Jiho looks at his coffee, looks at Sharon, makes a mental note to keep his phone face down from now on. At 10:47 a.m., the delivery room door opens. A nurse appears, looks at the 4 men in the corridor, one standing at attention, one sitting with 3 devices, one on the floor with an empty pastry box, one who has resumed pacing. Mr. Yoon? Sijin stops pacing. You can come in now. He walks through the door. The room is warm and quiet now. Mama is in the corner. Sitting down for the first time all morning, eyes bright, hands clasped, Dr. Shin is at the side of the room, calm and satisfied. And Karis is sitting up in bed, hair slightly damp, eyes clear, expression the specific, soft, exhausted, triumphant expression of a woman who just did the hardest, most extraordinary thing and knows it. And in her arms, small, wrapped in white, eyes just barely open, dark and curious, and already looking around the room like she is filing information. His daughter. Sojin stands at the door, cannot move, cannot speak, cannot do anything except stand there while something enormous and nameless rearranges everything inside him permanently, looking up at him. She came out completely quiet, didn't cry, just looked around. She's assessed the whole room before she made a sound. Just like somebody I know, Sojin crosses the room, sits beside her, looks at this small person his wife is holding. The small person looks back at him, direct, steady, completely calm. She has her mother's eyes, she has his composure. She is 3 minutes old and already the most powerful person in this building. Hi. The baby blinks once, looks at him, looks at Karis, looks back at him. She's already choosing favorites, I can tell. Not taking his eyes off the baby. She just got here. She has her father's instincts. She knows quality. Final thought. She's perfect, leaning her head on his shoulder. She really is. Outside in the corridor, Ryuk's phone buzzes. A text from Sojin. 2 words, she's here. Ryuk reads it, stands up slightly straighter, shows it to Jiho. Jiho reads it, takes his glasses off, cleans them, puts them back on, looks at the ceiling for a moment. Minjun reads it over Jiho's shoulder and makes a sound that is not professional in any way and absolutely nobody comments on. Sharon reads it last, puts her coffee down, looks at Mama through the small window in the delivery room door. Mama, who is sitting in the corner with her hands over her mouth and her eyes very bright, quietly, just to herself. There she is. She sits down for the first time all morning. Sharon sits down. Her name is Hana. Karis chose Hana because it means one in Korean and flower in several other languages, and because when she looked at this small person for the first time, something in her chest said, yes, that one, that's exactly right. Sojin cried when she told him he will deny this. There are 3 witnesses. They come home on Friday. The apartment has been prepared. This is an understatement. The apartment has been prepared in the way that happens when you leave Mama, Sharon, Ryuk, Minjun, and Jiho alone in a space for 2 days with a shared purpose and no supervision. Karis walks through the front door, Hana in her arms, and stops. The living room has been rearranged. Not slightly. Fundamentally. The sofa is against the other wall. The coffee table has been moved 6 feet to the left. There are soft lights along the corridor that were not there before. The kitchen has been reorganized in a system that appears logical but is not the system Karis built over 18 months of living here. She stands in the doorway, takes it all in. Who did this? Not a question, an identification exercise. We all contributed. Whose idea was the sofa? That was Ryuk. It was a collaborative decision. You moved it yourself at 11 p.m. while the rest of us were asleep. I was optimizing the sightlines from the front door for security purposes.
React, ma'am.
Did you rearrange my living room at 11 p.m.? The sightlines were insufficient, ma'am. Move the sofa back. Yes, ma'am. He moves it immediately, alone, in 45 seconds. The man is enormous and efficient and has 0 argument left in him when Karis uses that specific tone. Sojin takes Hana so Karis can sit down. And this moment is when everyone in the apartment discovers something important about Yoon Sojin that none of them were fully prepared for. This man, this composed, unreadable, boardroom commanding, never raises his voice CEO, holds this baby like she is the only solid thing in the world. And his entire face does something that makes Mama press her hand to her mouth in the kitchen doorway, and Jiho suddenly finds something very important to look at on his phone. Hana looks up at him. He looks down at her. Hi again. Hana blinks, grabs his finger with her entire fist. Sojin looks at Karis with the expression of a man who has been completely and permanently defeated by someone who weighs 8 pounds. She did the same thing to me at 3 a.m. I haven't recovered. She's so small. She was bigger on the inside. Trust me. Minjun arrives at noon. He called ahead. He has brought gifts. Not a gift. Gifts. Plural. A quantity of gifts that requires 2 trips from the car and raises serious questions about how long he's been planning this. Watching Minjun bring in the 4th bag. How long have you been buying things? 3 months. She has been alive for 3 days. I wanted to be prepared. Minjun, there are 4 bags. 5. There's 1 more in the car. Rook stares at him. My therapist said gift giving is one of my love languages and I should embrace it. Your therapist did not mean 5 bags. She said embrace it fully. Minjun, bring all 5 bags. I want to see everything. Minjun brings all 5 bags. He stands in the middle of the living room while Karis goes through them with the focused appreciation of a woman who was raised by someone who taught her that a thoughtful gift deserves full attention. There are soft toys, there are tiny shoes in 4 different sizes because Minjun wasn't sure which size to get and bought all of them. There is a book, a children's book, that Minjun apparently wrote and illustrated himself over the last 2 months. Handmade, bound with string, the story of a very brave woman who went on adventures and always came home. The room goes quiet when Karis opens it. She reads the first page, closes it, looks at Minjun. You made this. My therapist said creative expression. Minjun. Yes. Come here. He comes over. She hugs him, properly, fully, the way Karis hugs people, which is with her whole self and no reservation. Minjun stands there receiving this hug with the expression of a man whose nervous system has just been given something it didn't know it needed. I wasn't going to cry. Nobody said you were. I'm not crying. Looking at the ceiling. Nobody is crying. I'm crying a little. Just a little. At 2 p.m., Hana wakes up. She does not cry. She simply opens her eyes, looks at the ceiling, looks at the room, makes a small sound that is less distress and more announcement. I'm awake. Proceed accordingly. Every adult in the apartment responds immediately. This is how they discover that Hana Yoon has somehow, at 3 days old, already established a staff. Ryuk appears from his position at the door so fast it is genuinely unclear where he came from. Minjun knocks over a gift bag getting up. Jiho, who has been sitting quietly in the corner with his devices, stands up, checks at his watch, and makes a note. He has been tracking her sleep patterns. He has a document. It is color-coded. He did not ask anyone if he should do this. He simply did it. Sharon is already in motion toward the kitchen to warm something. Mama appears from the bedroom where she was resting, also immediately, also impossibly fast for a woman who claims her knees are not what they used to be. And Sojin gets there first. He always gets there first now. Karis has noticed this. In 3 days, he has developed the specific sensitivity to Hana's sounds that takes most people weeks. He hears her before anyone else does, and he is moving before he has consciously processed the sound. He picks her up. She looks at him, makes the announcement sound again. Good afternoon. Hana stares at him, grabs his finger again. The whole room watches this exchange with the collective expression of people witnessing something that will live in their memories permanently. She has you completely. I know. I'm fine with it. Completely fine. She can have whatever she wants. She's 3 days old. Whatever she wants. He's going to be a problem. Watching session with, that's not a problem, baby. That's a father. That evening, after everyone has gone, after Mama and Sharon have retired to the guest room, after Ryuk has taken his position, after Minjun has gone home and Jiho has sent his nightly summary document that nobody asked for but everyone reads, the apartment is quiet. Just the 3 of them, Karis and Sojin on the sofa, Hana between them, awake, eyes moving between her parents with the calm, assessing intelligence of someone taking detailed notes. She's been looking at us like that for 20 minutes. She's learning from us. She already knows us. Look at her eyes. She's filing information. She has your eyes. She has your everything else. She has my composure. She hasn't cried once in 3 days, Sojin. Not once. She just looks at people until they do whatever she needs. That's not my composure. What is it then? He looks at his daughter. His daughter looks back at him. Steady, patient, completely certain. Quietly, with the specific wonder of a man recognizing something enormous. That's yours. Karis looks at Hana. Hana looks at Karis. Then, for the first time, Hana smiles. Small. Fleeting. Probably gas according to every medical professional. Definitely not gas according to everyone in this room. There she is. There she is. From the kitchen counter, quietly, inevitably, the smoke detector goes off. They both turn. The pot, the rice, nobody moved it off the stove. Nobody turned off the burner. I didn't, you weren't near the stove. I've been on this sofa for 3 hours. Then who? Calling from the guest room. That was Sharon. She was trying to make tea. From the kitchen, already fanning smoke. The burner settings are different here. Everything in this country is different. Hana looks toward the kitchen, looks back at her parents. Her expression is the expression of someone who has just encountered her first piece of information about the world she has arrived in and is filing it carefully. Welcome to your life, baby. Hana blinks, grabs Karis's finger, holds on. Sarah comes on Saturday. She calls ahead, not because she is a call-ahead person. She is categorically not a call-ahead person, but because Minjun told her that calling ahead is respectful. And Minjun has been saying things like this with such genuine conviction lately that even Sarah, who respects very little that she did not personally verify, finds herself listening. She arrives at 11 a.m., stands at the door. Ryuk opens it. They look at each other. Miss Sarah. The large one. Yes. Is she awake? The baby or Mrs. Yoon? Either. Both. Come in. Sarah steps inside, takes in the apartment, the rearranged living room, the soft corridor lights, the general evidence of a space that has been reorganized by committee and is slowly being returned to its original form. She finds Karis on the sofa. Hana is in Karis's arms, awake, doing her signature thing, looking around the room with the calm, assessing eyes of someone taking attendance. Sarah stops when she sees the baby. Something happens to her face. It is very quick, very small. The expression of a woman who prepared herself for this moment and finds that preparation was insufficient. Come sit down. Sarah sits, looks at Hana. Hana looks at Sarah. A long moment passes between them. A 3-day-old baby and a woman who has been the most unreadable person in every room she has ever entered. Hana reaches out one small fist. I know. She looks like both of us, apparently. Sojin thinks she has his jaw. I think he needs glasses. Still looking at Hana. Yes. Karis places Hana carefully in Sarah's arms. Sarah holds her, looks down at this small person. Hana looks up at Sarah with the specific focused attention she gives everyone, the filing information look, and then does something she has done for nobody except her parents. She smiles. Sarah's entire face changes. She likes you. Voice doing something she would never acknowledge. She doesn't know me. She knows enough. She has good instincts. Gets it from her mother. And her mother's humility, apparently. I have tremendous humility. Ask anyone. I will not be asking anyone that. Jiho arrives at 11:30. He called ahead at 11:29. 1 minute notice. For Jiho, this is spontaneous. He comes through the door with an acknowledgement naturally and stops when he sees Sarah sitting on the sofa holding Hana. Sarah looks up when she hears him arrive. They look at each other. The room temperature does something. Nobody mentions it. Everyone notices it. To the room generally. I brought the updated security rotation document for next week, and also he produces a small wrapped gift from his jacket pocket, sets it on the coffee table, looks at it, looks at the room. The book is, there's a series, educational, age appropriate for, I researched the developmental. Yes, it's lovely. Thank you. Jiho straightens his glasses, sits down on the chair across from Sarah, not the sofa, the chair specifically. Sarah looks at him. He looks at his document to Sojin, who has heard from the kitchen with coffee. Watch this. Watch this. I've been watching this for 3 weeks. They haven't figured it out yet. Not even close. Mama comes out of the guest room, sees Jiho, sees Sarah, sees the chair, sees the sofa, makes a decision. Jiho, come sit on the sofa. I need that chair for my back. Jiho looks at the sofa where Sarah is sitting, the sofa that seats 3 people comfortably and would require him to sit approximately 18 inches from Sarah. The chair is fine for my back. Of course, he moves to the sofa, sits down 18 inches from Sarah. Mama sits in the chair. Her back appears completely fine. Sharon, who is in the kitchen making something nobody asked her to make, leans around the doorframe, clocks the sofa situation, and gives Mama a look. Mama gives her a look back. They have an entire conversation with their eyebrows. Karis watches this. Your mother-in-law just orchestrated a seating arrangement. I saw. She's been here 5 days. She works fast. On the sofa, Jiho and Sarah are sitting with Hana between them. Sarah is still holding her. Jiho is looking at his document, not reading it, looking at it. There's a difference. Now, you research developmental books. It's important to have age-appropriate stimulation in the early. You spend time choosing it. I spent an appropriate amount of time, 2 hours. You spent 2 hours choosing a baby gift. The reviews were contradictory. Sarah looks at him. He looks at his document. It's a good choice. It says nothing, but his document stops pretending to be interesting and he puts it down. Thank you. Hana looks between them, files this information. Ryuk appears from the corridor, looks at the sofa, goes back to the corridor, finds Minjun, who arrived 14 minutes ago, called ahead, brought pastries, is currently in the kitchen being supervised by Sharon, who has opinions about how he arranged them on the plate. Jiho and Sarah are on the sofa. Together, 18 inches apart. That's basically touching for those two. I know. Do we say something? Right? We observe. They like each other. Both men turn around. Sharon is arranging pastries and has clearly been listening to this entire conversation. How long have you, since he walked in, the way he didn't look at her told me everything. That's very astute, Sharon. I've been reading people since before you were born, Minjun. Now move. You're blocking the good pastries. Lunch happens. Everyone around the table. Mama cooked. Properly, fully. The kind of cooking that makes the whole apartment smell like Dayton, Ohio on a Sunday, which Karis finds so deeply comforting she has to look at the ceiling for a moment. Hana is in her little seat at the end of the table. She is not eating, obviously. She is watching, taking attendance, filing. She looks at each person at the table in turn. Mama, Sharon, Karis, Sojin, Ryuk, Minjun. And when she gets to Jiho and Sarah sitting next to each other, she stares at them for a noticeably long time. Even the baby knows. She's 4 days old. She's very advanced. Don't tell Jiho she was staring at him. He'll make a document about it. He's already made a document about her sleep schedule. I know. I'm across the table, not whispering. Both of you eat your food. Ryuk and Minjun eat their food. After lunch, Sarah finds Karis alone in the kitchen. Karis is at the counter with tea, not cooking. Nobody lets her cook yet. This is a house rule that is being enforced with remarkable collective dedication. He's annoying. Looks at her. Jiho? He organizes everything. He has a document for everything. He shows up with color-coded Sarah. He spent 2 hours on a baby gift. What? You spent 45 minutes choosing what to wear today. A pause. You called me at 9 a.m. to ask if the charcoal suit was appropriate. I was being considerate. You have worn that suit to 3 separate international operations and never once called to check. This was different. Why was it different? Sarah looks at the kitchen counter, looks at her tea, looks at the kitchen counter again. He was going to be here. Karis says nothing. She picks up her tea, takes a slow sip. The expression of a woman who has won something significant and is being gracious about it. The charcoal suit was the right choice, by the way. Sarah looks at her. Just so you know, in the living room, Jiho is holding Hana. Nobody asked him to. Sojin put her down for a moment, and Jiho simply picked her up. Like it was the obvious thing to do, like he has been waiting for the appropriate moment, and this was it. He is holding her with the careful, precise competence of a man who researched this too. Hana looks up at him. He looks down at her. Very quietly, thinking nobody can hear. You are going to be remarkable. I have seen your parents. There is no other outcome. Hana grabs his finger. Jiho looks at the finger, looks at her. Something in his face does the thing that everyone's face does when Hana grabs their finger, the complete and total surrender. From the kitchen doorway, Sarah is watching. She looks away when Karis appears beside her. Not looking at her. Still annoying? Sarah says nothing, which is the loudest answer she has ever given. Mama announces she is leaving on Monday. She announces this on Sunday evening at dinner, like it is a simple logistical update and not information that lands on the table with the weight of something enormous. The table goes quiet. I'm not ready. Sharon, you have a life in Dayton. Dayton will survive without me. Pastor Williams specifically asks. Pastor Williams asks too much. Sharon puts her fork down. The resignation of a woman who knows this argument is already over. Karis says nothing during this exchange. She is looking at her plate. Seojin, who notices everything, puts his hand over hers under the table. She doesn't look up, but she turns her hand over and holds his. After dinner, Mama finds Karis in the baby's room. Karis is standing at the crib looking at Hana, who is asleep. Genuinely asleep. The specific boneless sleep of a person who has decided the world can manage itself for a few hours. Mama stands beside her. They look at Hana together. She sleeps like you did. Completely still, like she made a decision about it. Most babies fight sleep. You always just decided. Close your eyes. Done. I didn't know that. There's a lot you don't know about yourself, baby. You'll see it now. Through her. They stand there. The room is soft and dim and smells like a new baby, and the specific warmth of something that has just begun. Mama. I know. I didn't say anything yet. You don't have to. I know. Karis looks at her mother. I'm not leaving you. I'm going back to Dayton. Those are different things. I know. You have everything you need here. You have that man who color codes his love for you. You have the big one at the door who would fight an army for this family. You have the anxious one who makes handmade books. You have the glasses one who is in love with Sarah and doesn't know it yet. Not surprised at all. I gave them 2 months. I gave them 6 weeks. You're more optimistic than me. I've seen how he holds her coffee order in his head without writing it down. It's already done, Mama. Mama smiles, looks back at Hana. Call me Sunday. I always call you Sunday. Call me Saturday too now. I want updates on this one. Yes, ma'am. Monday morning, the airport, all of them. Because, of course, all of them. Ryuk drives, Sojin sits in the front, Karis, Mama, and Hana in the middle, Minjun, Jiho, and Sharon in the back, in an arrangement that required 15 minutes of logistical negotiation that Jiho documented and nobody asked him to. Sharon spends the entire drive giving Minjun her contact information and telling him to visit Dayton. Minjun is writing it down with genuine intention. Is he actually going to visit Dayton? I think he might. Ohio. They sit with this. At the departure terminal, Mama's suitcases go on the trolley. Sharon is already on her phone, telling someone named Deirdre back in Dayton about the hospital and the baby and the apartment and the curtains that were crooked and the floors and the cafeteria and everything else she has cataloged over the last week in extraordinary detail. Mama stands in front of Seojin, looks up at him. He looks down at her. This small woman in the yellow cardigan who arrived unannounced with 2 suitcases and rearranged his entire apartment and told him to add more salt and dried dishes beside him and patted his arm and told him he would do. You're a good man, so I'm trying, ma'am. You're not trying, you are. There's a difference. Trying means you might stop. You won't stop. He looks at her. Take care of my girls. 2 girls now. He feels this land is somewhere permanent. Yes, ma'am, always. Mama pats his arm, the assessment part, then you'll do it. Then she turns to Ryuk. You, keep the sightlines sufficient. The closest thing to moved he has been since the warehouse. And finish your therapy. Don't look surprised. I know things. Finish it. It's working. Ryuk stands up slightly straighter. Yes, ma'am. Mom turns to Minjun. You. Yes, ma'am? The book you made for the baby, it's not very, the illustrations are basic. It's the best gift she received. I want you to know that. Minjun opens his mouth, close it. His eyes do the thing. Thank you, ma'am. Visitin. Sharon will feed you. I'll make good food, not the Sunday food, the actual good food, genuinely. I would like that very much. Mama turns to Jiho. Jiho is standing very straight Glasses perfectly positioned, the full professional presentation. Mama looks at him, looks over at Sarah, who is standing slightly apart from the group. She said she wasn't going to come. She came, looking at the departure board with great professional interest. Look back at Jiho. She wore a charcoal suit. Jiho blinks. Ma'am? She has other suits. She wore that one specifically. I want you to think about why. Jiho looks at Mama. Looks at Sarah at the departure board. Looks back at Mama. I'm not sure what you're... Yes, you are. She pats his arm, moves on. Jiho stands very still, looks at Sarah, who has apparently developed the ability to feel being looked at because she turns around at exactly this moment. They look at each other across the departure terminal. Jiho looks away first. Sarah looks back at the departure board. Minjun, who has watched this entire thing, leans toward Ryuk. 6 weeks? 4. Mama accelerated the timeline. Mama gets to Karis last. Karis is standing with Hana against her chest. Hana awake, eyes moving around the airport terminal with the calm, fascinated attention of someone experiencing the world in expanding circles. Mama cups Karis's face with both hands, looks at her daughter, this woman she raised, this Ohio girl with the black pixie cut and the burnt rice and the extraordinary life and the baby who sleeps like she made a decision about it. You good, baby? Completely honest for once, without managing it. Yeah, Ma, I'm really good. Soul tired is gone. Soul tired is gone. Mama looks at her for one long moment, satisfied, certain, complete. Good. That's all I came to check. She kisses Karis's forehead, then Hana's. Hana looks at Mama with her filing eyes. Then the smile, the small, fleeting, certain smile. You remember my face now? I'll be back before you know it. Hana grabs Mama's finger, holds on. I have to go before Sharon starts reorganizing the check-in desk in the background to a check-in agent. I'm just saying this queue system could be more efficient. I'm coming. They watch them go through security. Mama, Sharon. Sharon turns back 3 times. The 3rd time she points at Jiho and then at Sarah and makes an extremely unambiguous gesture that Jiho looks away from and Sarah pretends not to see. Then they're through. Gone. The group stands at the departure terminal, 6 people and 1 baby. Quiet for a moment. The particular quiet of people who have just said goodbye to something warm. Hana makes her announcement sound. Everyone looks at her. She looks back at all of them. Completely calm, completely steady, as if to say, I'm still here. Proceed here. Proceed accordingly. Yes? I know a place. I have a document. Of course you do. The reviews are very fine. Lead the way, Jiho. Jiho looks at her. She is already walking toward the exit. He watches her for exactly 1 second. 4 weeks. 3. The place Jiho chooses is small, quiet, and excellent. Of course it is. Jiho has never in his life chosen anything that was not thoroughly researched, carefully considered, and arrived at through a process that most people would find exhausting, and he finds simply responsible. The restaurant has 12 tables, good lighting, a menu that is focused rather than overwhelming. The reviews, which he has read, all of them, including the ones from 3 years ago, indicate consistent quality with particular commendation for the breakfast service. He presents none of this information to the group. He simply leads them there. Sarah looks at the restaurant when they arrive, looks at Jiho, says nothing, but she nods once, the specific nod of one professional in another's competence, and walks through the door. Jiho follows. Minjun watches this from behind and leans toward Ryuk.
Min.
She nodded. I saw. That's basically a declaration for those two. Don't push it. They take 2 tables pushed together. This is where it gets interesting. The seating arranges itself, Karis and Seojin with Hana between them, Ryuk at the outside position, because Ryuk always takes the outside position, Minjun beside Ryuk, which leaves Jiho and Sarah at the end of the combined tables, beside each other. Again, Minjun did not engineer this. He would like credit for not engineering this because the temptation was significant, and he resisted it entirely. Ryuk also did not engineer this. He moved toward his seat without strategic thought, and it simply happened. Karis absolutely engineered this. She chose her seat first, which determined Seojin's, which determined Ryuk's, which determined Minjun's, which left exactly one natural configuration for the remaining two seats. She did this in approximately 1 second while appearing to be focused entirely on settling Hana. Sojin watched her do it, said nothing, picked up his menu. Jiho and Sarah sit beside each other, both open their menus, both study them. The menus are one page. There are 8 items. This does not require the level of attention they are both giving it. The eggs, the kanji. They order without looking at each other. The server leaves. Silence, not uncomfortable silence. They are both people who are entirely at ease with silence, who in fact prefer it to unnecessary conversation, who have spent years in rooms full of people saying nothing important and have learned to value quiet. This silence is different, though. This silence has texture. You chose well. The restaurant? The reviews indicated, I don't need the methodology of Jiho. It's a compliment. Thank you. Across the table, behind their menus, Karis and Seojin are watching this exchange with the focused attention of people at a very quiet tennis match. He said thank you without explaining himself. That's progress. That's enormous progress. Hana, who has been in her carrier against Karis's chest, decides at this moment to make her announcement sound. Everyone at the table redirects attention to her immediately. Everyone except Jiho and Sarah, who are in the middle of something and whose attention redirects to Hana 2 seconds later than everyone else at the same time, which means they both turn toward her simultaneously and find themselves approximately 10 inches apart. They both look at Hana. Hana looks at both of them, does the filing thing, then looks between them with the specific attention she gave them on the sofa. The you two, yes, I see you look, and makes a small satisfied sound. She knows. She's 5 days old. She absolutely knows. Both of you eat your pastries. Food arrives. Everyone eats. The table settles into the warm, comfortable rhythm of people who have been through something together and have come out the other side knowing each other in the specific way that only happens when you've shared genuine stakes. Minjun tells a story about something his therapist said this week that is objectively very funny, and everyone laughs, including Sarah, which is still slightly surprising every time it happens, like watching a very precise instrument do something warm and unexpected. Jiho laughs too. Sarah glances at him when he laughs. He doesn't notice. Minjun notices. Ryuk notices. Karis notices. Seojin notices. Hana, in her carrier, appears to notice. Nobody says anything. After breakfast, paying the bill becomes an event. I'll pay. I'll pay. I brought pastries earlier, so technically I already contributed, but I'll also pay. I'll pay. Nobody is paying. Jojin is paying. I'm paying. Sir, I really should. Jiho. Yes, sir. I'm paying. Yes, sir. Everyone stands, gathers coats, bags, the general equipment that comes with 6 adults and 1 baby going anywhere. They move toward the door. Jiho reaches it first, holds it open. People file through. Sarah is last. She walks through the door, stops just past it, turns back. The kangi was excellent, by the way. Good choice. Jiho stands at the door. You didn't have the kangi. I tried yours when you weren't looking. She walks away before he can respond. Jiho stands at the door, looks at the space she just vacated, looks at his bowl inside, which is notably not empty, but is missing a portion from one side in a way he had attributed to his own eating and is now rethinking. He lets the door close, walks after the group. Minjun falls into step beside him immediately. Casual, extremely not casual. Good breakfast? Yes. Good conversation? Adequate. She tried your kanji, you know. I'm aware. That means she was watching what you ordered before she ordered her own thing, which means, yes? I know what it means. Minjun looks at him. Jiho is looking straight ahead, but something about his expression is different. Something small and private and carefully contained. He knows what it means. I heard. 3 weeks? 2. They walk back through the Seoul morning together 6 people and 1 baby moving through a city that is loud and golden and completely indifferent to the fact that something quiet and significant just happened over breakfast eggs and congee. Hana is in her carrier against Karis's chest, facing out, seeing Seoul for the first time, properly, in motion, the full version of the city she's been born into. Her eyes are very busy. That's your city. All of it. Loud and fast and beautiful. You're gonna love it. Hana makes a sound, not the announcement sound, a new sound, small and wondering and completely her own. What does that one mean? I think that one means she agrees. He looks at his daughter looking at Seoul, puts his arm around Karis. She leans into him. Ahead of them, Jiho and Sarah are walking side by side. Not talking, but their pace has matched without either of them adjusting for it. The same stride, the same speed, moving through the same city at exactly the same rate without discussing it. Minjun watches this from behind, puts his hand over his heart. Don't. I'm not doing anything. You were about to say something. Something beautiful is happening. It will continue to happen without your commentary. I just want to acknowledge, yes. Walk. Minjun walks. But he is smiling, the full uncontrollable smile of a man whose anxiety has been in therapy for months, and whose heart has decided that the world is actually quite wonderful when you pay attention to the right things. 6 weeks later, Jiho and Sarah are dating. Nobody is surprised. Everyone is acting surprised out of respect for the process. It happened on a Tuesday. Nobody knows exactly what was said. Neither Jiho nor Sarah has provided a full account, and neither will. What is known, because Ryuk was at his post and has ears, is that Jiho showed up at Sarah's apartment with a document. Not a romantic document. A research document about a restaurant he thought she might like. 17 pages, annotated, color-coded. Sarah opened the door, looked at the document, looked at him and said, "You made a 17-page document about a restaurant." And Jiho said, "The reviews were contradictory. I wanted to be thorough." And Sarah looked at this man, this slim, precise, brilliant, impossible man with his round glasses and his color-coded devotion, and started laughing, really laughing, the kind Karis had never heard from her before. Jiho, who had prepared for many responses and not this one, stood in the doorway holding his 17 pages, looking like a man whose entire operating system had just been updated without warning. Then Sarah took the document from his hand, stepped back from the door, and said, "Come in. Tell me about the restaurant." He went in. They went to the restaurant the following evening. It was excellent. The reviews had not done it justice. Ryuk reported all of this to Minjun in a voice note that was 4 minutes and 30 seconds long. Minjun listened to it 6 times. It is Sunday. The apartment is full. It is always full now. This happened gradually and then completely, the way important things happen, until Sunday at the Yoon apartment became the thing everyone organizes their week around without discussing it. Ryuk is at the door. Minjun brought pastries. Jiho arrived with food from the corner place, and Sarah arrived 12 minutes after him, which is, as Minjun has noted in a personal journal, he absolutely keeps, the exact amount of time it takes to walk from Jiho's building. Nobody has mentioned this. Everyone has mentioned this to each other privately. Karis is at the kitchen counter, on the phone with Mama. Naturally. "How's my grandbaby?" Running things. Completely. Ryuk does whatever she wants. Minjun learned a song for her. Jiho has updated the sleep document 4 times this week. And Seojin? Karis looks across the kitchen. Seojin is at the table. Hana is on his chest, 6 weeks old, eyes wide open, looking at the room over his shoulder with the calm, assessing attention that has not dimmed for a single day since she arrived. Seojin is reading documents, or trying to. Every 30 seconds, he tilts his head down to look at her. She tilts her head up to look at him. This has been happening for 20 minutes. Neither of them is getting anything else done. Neither of them minds. He's good, Mama. He's really good. Soul tired? Gone. Completely gone. Through the phone. Karis can always tell. Good. That's my girl. From the living room, Minjun's voice, very excited, slightly too loud. She smiled at me. A real one. Not the gas one. A real one. How do you know it's not the gas one? Because I know her, Ryuk. You've known her for 6 weeks. 6 formative weeks. It was a real one. I saw it. Minjin points at Sarah triumphantly. Jiho, sitting beside Sarah, looks at Hana. Hana looks at Jiho. Smiles. Unambiguously. Jiho looks at the smile, looks at the room, looks at the smile again, takes his glasses off, cleanses them, puts them back on. I need to update the document. You are not documenting her smiles. It's developmental data. It's a smile. First recorded voluntary social smile at 6 weeks, 2 days. That's significant. You're going to document every single thing she does, aren't you? I have a system. Sarah looks at this man, this absolutely impossible man, quietly, just show me the system. Jiho looks up from his notes, looks at her. Something warm and private passes between them in approximately 1 second. Color-coded by category, Sarah looks at the notebook. The categories, the colors, the careful, precise record of one small person's first weeks in the world, kept by a man who didn't have to and did it anyway because that is simply who he is. You need a column for the kanji incident. What kanji incident? Breakfast, when I tried yours. That's not relevant to Hana's developmental. Sira, it's relevant to me. Jiho stares at her. Sarah looks at the notebook. Minjin, who has heard every word of this from 3 feet away, grabs Ryuk's arm. Ryuk removes Minjin's hand from his arm, but he is almost smiling, the almost smile he will never fully acknowledge. From the kitchen, the smoke detector. Everyone turns. The pot, the rice. Karis at the stove holding a dishcloth, completely unbothered. Mama, I have to go. Is that the smoke detector? The air is purifying itself. Love you, Mama. Sunday. Bye. She hangs up, turns to the pot. Sojin appears beside her within 4 seconds. Hana still on his chest, one hand supporting her, the other hand taking the pot off the stove, with the calm efficiency of a man who has accepted this completely and loves it anyway. He looks at the pot, looks at Karis. You weren't even near the stove 10 minutes ago. I work fast. This is a gift, a specific, consistent, inexplicable gift. Thank you. That wasn't a compliment. I choose to receive it as one. Hana, from her position on Sein's chest, looks at the burnt pot, looks at Karis, looks at Sojin, makes a new sound, the wondering sound, the one that means she is filing something important. This is your inheritance, baby. I'm sorry, and you're welcome. You will not be inheriting this. I will teach you personally. She has my DNA. We'll work against it. You cannot work against. Wolfana looks between her parents, the filing look, then the smile. Full, certain, completely deliberate. Both of them stop talking. Look, there she is. There she is. The apartment is warm. The smoke is clearing. 6 people and 1 baby on a Sunday morning in Seoul, loud and full and slightly chaotic and completely, perfectly right. The burnt pot on the counter, the color-coded notebook on the sofa, the laminated document on the table, the handmade book on the shelf. And Yoon Hana, 6 weeks old, eyes wide, looking at the room full of people who arrived in her parents' lives in the most extraordinary ways and stayed, with the calm, certain expression of a girl who already knows she is exactly where she is supposed to be. She comes from Ohio stock. She always knows where she is.